My judicial philosophy is straightforward. A judge must be independent and must interpret the law, not make the law.
I welcome everyone to this confirmation hearing on the nomination of
Mr.
Judge
Chairman.
I'd like to start by
Kavanaugh.
saying unequivocally, uncategorically, that I deny each and every single allegation.
That I will faithfully execute
the office of President of the United States.
the office of President of the United States.
Good evening. I appreciate the opportunity to speak directly to the American people tonight about how we can end this shutdown and meet the needs of the American people.
Say again, please. Houston, we've had a problem.
Hi, my name is Will Everidge. Please allow me to introduce myself. I'm the founder and chief executive of the Liberty Accord. I'm an honorably discharged combat Navy veteran who served in Operation Southern Watch, former deputy, business owner, state Sambo director for USA Wrestling, retired MMA instructor, ham radio instructor, and first aid and CPR instructor. And I'm currently a licensed social studies teacher with a bachelor's degree in political science and a master's degree in education from American Military University. Now that you know who I am, let's talk a little bit about why I created the Liberty Accord. You see, I created the Liberty Accord to achieve one single mission: to take back our country from the criminals in D.C. And if you're tired of the criminals in D.C. who are destroying our country and you're ready to push back, then you're in the right place. So, what do? We have to restore our great republic to popular sovereignty, which of course begs the question, what is popular sovereignty? Popular sovereignty is the principle that the authority of a state and its government are created and sustained by the consent of its people through their elected representatives, with the understanding that we, the people, are the source of all political power. But how do we take back our country that's so far removed from what the founding fathers envisioned? The corruption, it's deep, it's widespread. But believe it or not, the founders knew this was going to happen. So they put into place certain safeguards that would ensure that our republic would survive the most tremendous, treacherous, and evil attempts to destroy it. Okay, so in this video, we're going to explore each of those safeguards as well as our strategy to leverage those safeguards and the team that will take back our republic. Okay, so let's get started by exploring our safeguards. So the first safeguard that we're going to take a look at is, and by far the strongest safeguard that the founders put in place, was our amazing Constitution, the federal Constitution. So with its checks and balances, Bill of Rights, the power firmly placed in the hands of the people, it provides the greatest level of protection against corruption and abuse of power. But keep this in mind, only 11 out of the first 12 amendments were ratified. The first 10, of course, we know those as our Bill of Rights. Then we have the 11th, which was finally ratified in 1992 by a college student. Okay, now the last amendment, number 12, which was our original First Amendment, okay, which was championed by George Washington during the Constitutional Convention in 1789, is still an open action item in every single state. So keep this in mind. 12 states have already ratified it. We need another 27 states to do the same, and the corruption will be brought to a screeching halt. Okay? Now, it'll take more than just that to take back our republic. So our primary mission, and we always got to keep this in mind, our primary mission is to ratify what will be our 28th Amendment. The good news is that most of the liberal East Coast states that already ratified it, they did so, and they're radical liberal states today. And since we only need 27 more states, we won't need states like California, Oregon, or Washington. They would never come around anyway. So there is nothing that the corrupt criminals in D.C. can do about this. We only need 51% of the state legislature to say yes, and not even the corrupt governors can veto this vote. Once it passes, it is part of the federal Constitution forever. Okay? So the Constitution, very, very strong, and it's in place. The second, or another powerful safeguard that the founders gave us, is the grand jury. The grand jury is made up of regular citizens in each county of the country, and they're not controlled by the judge, and they're not controlled by the county prosecutor. They're completely autonomous. They can ask for witnesses, expert testimony, and they can also issue warrants. This includes warrants against crooked politicians. That's right. A county grand jury can issue a warrant against anyone in their county suspected of committing a felony, and there is absolutely nothing that crooked politicians can do about it. Okay, so the Constitution and the grand jury. Okay, now let's talk about the third powerful safeguard that the founders gave us, and that is the state militia. According to the United States Constitution, Ohio State Constitution, and the Ohio Revised Codes, the state militia is comprised of every citizen between the ages of 17 and 66 who are not serving in the National Guard. The state unorganized constitutional militia serves two primary functions. The first as law enforcement. That's right, law enforcement. As they are constitutionally bound to, and I quote, execute the laws of the Union, unquote. And two, as military, as they are constitutionally bound to, and I quote, suppress insurrection and repel invasion, unquote. The grand jury and the state militia are the only two pre-constitutional safeguards provided by the founders to ensure that the republic would not succumb to destructive ideologies such as socialism and communism. Okay, so collectively, these three safeguards, along with the right team and strategy, can take our country back and return our republic to popular sovereignty. Now that we have an understanding of what the safeguards are and that they're in place, let's explore the team that's going to make that happen. Interstage right, the Liberty Accord. The Liberty Accord is comprised of affiliated citizen group, businesses, nonprofit organizations, attorneys, state militia, corporations, statesmen, and individual American. It really does represent the rich diversity that America is. Okay, so the Liberty Accord, along with the Constitution, the federal Constitution, the grand jury, and the state militia, make up what is called the Golden Triangle. And now that we know who the team is, what weapons and safeguards they are that we're going to use to restore the republic, let's take a look at the strategy that will be employed to make it happen. Okay, the Constitution and the rule of law have been under constant attack for well over 200 years. It's created a very, very complex dilemma. Fortunately, there's a complex solution that will get the job done. We call it our 7-pillar strategy. Okay, so this strategy is made up of 7 pillars, and I'm going to walk you through those real quick. So the very first pillar is education. This is very important. Our public education system has failed us miserably, especially in the areas of history and civics. If you don't learn the lessons of the past, you're doomed to repeat them, and we have. You know we have. If you don't know civics, which literally means who's boss, then you wouldn't know that we, the people, are the boss. We are the apex political element within our government, the source of all political power, and that government is our servant, designed to serve us, not the other way around. So there must be a massive effort to educate the people, but not just the people. We need to educate law enforcement. As a person who has went through the police academy, I'm here to tell you this is not taught in the police academy or by field training officers once a cop hits the streets. And they're not alone. Most politicians are either not aware of or refuse to acknowledge our constitutional authority or popular sovereignty. And most Americans who serve on the grand jury have no idea it's not the judge, it's not the county prosecutor who's in charge, but them, the members of the grand jury. They're in complete control. Okay, so that education, our very first pillar. The second pillar is compliance. We must restore the state militia through recruiting, training, and certification. We must facilitate the union between the state militia and the county sheriff. We have to get those two working together. These are the two key law enforcement components of our strategy. then we must let an educated and empowered grand jury use these components to execute the laws of the Union and bring these criminal politicians to justice. Lastly, we must educate and empower our county prosecutors to convene these grand juries. If a grand jury is never convened to hear testimony regarding a criminal politician, the grand jury will never issue a warrant, and the sheriff and militia will never have an opportunity to carry it out. The county prosecutor must convene the grand jury. The grand jury must issue arrest warrants and criminal indictments, and the sheriff and the state militia must work together to make those arrests. Okay, so this is our second pillar, compliance. Third pillar. The third pillar is internal political engagement. So keep in mind, our primary mission here is to ratify the 28th Amendment, which will affect all three branches of government and put the power back in the hands of the people. Congress has already passed this. It's done. We only need to convince 51% of the state legislatures in 27 more states to vote yes, and we're done. We've won this war forever. Now, the first step in doing this is to identify the state representatives and state senators at the state level who are friendly to our cause. Those state reps who love the Constitution, love our country, and who want to do the right thing. The most effective way to do this is through your local county Republican Party. Most of the state reps and remaining political class belong to this political body, including the county sheriff and others. Okay, so our third pillar, internal political engagement. Now, our fourth pillar is external political engagement. The fourth pillar is for those politicians who won't vote yes, who are part of the state swamp and will not do the right thing unless they have a lot to lose, like their next election. It's imperative that we recruit several thousands of team members in each of the 27 states who will apply direct political pressure on these politicians with phone calls, personal visits, emails, and protests. This requires a great deal of organization, preparation, collaboration, and communication. So fortunately, we already have the infrastructure in place to make this happen. So we're almost there. The fifth pillar is demonstration. This is done by our level 3 sentinels. So, and there are 3 different levels of sentinels. They all have a job to do. And this is the job of the level 3 sentinels within our organization. They will rally in support of our mission. They will rally in support of those politicians who support our mission. They will campaign for those politicians who support our mission. But they will also protest against those politicians who oppose our mission. Now again, we must pull from surrounding states, bus others in as needed, and I'm not talking hundreds, I'm talking thousands. And when we do, it'll bring awareness to our cause, it'll help us recruit other team members, and it will give a great deal of strength to our movement. And that is the fifth pillar. The sixth pillar is collaboration. With our political allies, this will take place at the county, state, and national level. So we need team members who are capable of engaging at these levels. But working with the political class is just the beginning. We'll continue to increase the number of businesses, organizations, and citizens to help push our agenda. We'll continue to grow our team through our VOT process, which is vetting, onboarding, and training. We'll build our Patriot Advocate program, which unites attorneys and businesses to provide them with legal protection against executive overreach and weaponized health department mandates. We'll build our membership program along with our PAP program. We'll provide the financial resources required for us to carry out our mission. We'll work with the state militia, sheriff's office, county prosecutors, grand juries to honor their oaths, the rule of law, and enforce the Constitution. This collaboration is our sixth pillar. And finally, the seventh pillar, which is reform. Once we've ratified the 20th Amendment, we'll be empowered to reform other areas of our corrupt society, such as education, entertainment, big tech, media and press reform, conservative fiscal policy, the protection of the American family unit. As mentioned before, our country, it's an absolute mess right now. And it's on a path of destruction. I mean, the United States is in big trouble. And as a United States citizen, it is our duty to do what we can to stop this from happening. As parents and grandparents, it's our moral obligation to our posterity to stop this from happening. You now know the weapons and safeguards our founding fathers have put into place. You know our mission and strategy. You know the team that will carry out this mission to take our country back and restore our great republic to popular sovereignty. Now it's time to decide. Join the Liberty Accord and take back our country in a legal, peaceful, constitutional manner, or allow the greatest nation in the history of the world to go the way of Greece and Rome. If you're ready to join the team or just want more information, go to libertyaccord.com. Click on Get Involved at the top, scroll to the bottom, fill out and submit the online form, and one of our onboarding coordinators will follow up with you. I want to take this moment here and thank you for your time, attention, and your genuine concern for the future of our country. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.